Is that this bill be now read a second time, and I call the honourable member for Deakin.
Well, thanks very much, Mr Deputy Speaker. Today is an absolute marquee day for this country, and it's therefore a great pleasure for me to be able to speak on the Customs Amendment Bill. Economic development, wealth creation in the 20th and 21st century have been reliant on two main things. The first being free trade and freer trade, a development we saw from the mid-20th century continuing until today, obviously, and, of course, technological improvements. So we should never forget that the wealth that Australians enjoy today is because of the hard work of previous generations in breaking down trade barriers and ensuring freer trade. And we have been, of any nation in the world, one of the greatest beneficiaries of that. So today is an extraordinary day for Australia, and I suspect there's lots of Australians out there, indeed there might even be members in this House today, most notably some on the other side of the House, who don't appreciate how important this will be for our country for decades to come. Now, I want to pay tribute first and foremost to Andrew Robb. He has done an extraordinary job in so quickly bringing these agreements to what has been, quite frankly, a very surprising conclusion. I mean, these are negotiations. Free trade agreements, by their very definition, are negotiations. And in some respects, I was not expecting that we would get such a good deal out of China. And the fact that the Trade Minister has been able to extract an extraordinary deal for this country, 86% of Australian goods will enter China duty-free, for example, is extraordinary. I also want to pay tribute to the leadership of our party and to every single backbencher and member on this side of the House, because we have stared down a disgraceful campaign from the union movement, with the Labor Party following. Let's get it on the record that we would not be passing this legislation today had we not stared down that disgraceful campaign from the union movement and those opposite. So for the hundreds of thousands of Australians who will get jobs, improved opportunities, and for the small business men and women out there who will have a huge market now to increasingly work with, I think thanks needs to go to each of those people on this side of the House who, in quite difficult circumstances, stared down what we knew was a disgraceful campaign from those opposites. So it's great that they're with us. We've brought them along. We've dragged them kicking and screaming. So credit where it's due, of course. Now, for my home state of Victoria, we will be as big a beneficiary as any other state in this country. Victoria exports more than $4 billion worth of goods to China, including around $3 billion worth of goods in agriculture. There will be great gains for Victoria's farmers and agribusinesses, including in the dairy industry, beef, sheep, horticulture, seafood, wine and wool. But for my electorate of Deakin, there will be great opportunities for advanced manufacturers. One business in my electorate, Timbermate, which manufactures putties and fillers. They've got a great business here, a great domestic business here in Australia. They do great work with exports to the United States. Now they will have all tariffs on their goods into China removed, and they've already indicated to me that they have now signed agreements with distributors in China in preparation for this agreement coming into force, because the minute that those trade barriers are removed, their market will exponentially grow, because they are at the high end of their market. And I have a number of advanced manufacturers in the Deakin electorate who will be exporting premium products to China. They therefore expect a premium price, but trade barriers have made that difficult in the past. What does this mean? Well, it just means more jobs, more opportunities. For young people who have left school and looking to get into a job, this is great for them. for small business people who are looking for emerging markets, small business people who are now grasping the opportunities that the digital economy offers. I mean, this opens up such a huge market, it's quite unfathomable, and it's very difficult to really quantify. The things that we expect will be the great aspects of this agreement today, I suspect, will be superseded by aspects that we can't even envisage. And this is going to be, if for nothing else, an outstanding legacy for our Trade Minister, Andrew Robb. But I want to reflect, but for every member on this side of the House, because again, and I'll end with a point I've made previously, this agreement would not be in place, would not be coming into force, were it not for the fortitude and the spine of those on this side of the House who stared down a disgraceful campaign from the union movement, and I want every single Australian to understand that. So again, I commend this bill to the House. This is a wonderful day for Australia.
The question is that this